Hello, Gun Nation. Big Johnson coming at you. All right, let's talk about the Fort Worth gun show that I went to this weekend with my buddy Jacob. First, before we get into that, let's do a gun check. I've got the Glock 19X with the Harrington Arms comp in a Glock 34 holster. It's a Harry's holster. Loving the pistol, loving the holster. And also, if you have a J-frame, check out Harry's Holsters J-frame pistols. Man, those things are selling like crazy. Everybody's loving them. And you can save 10% on any holster you buy from Harry's Holsters using my code. It's BigJohnson, capital B, capital J, all smashed together. That'll save you 10% off. But check him out, man. He makes great stuff. But back to the video. Fort Worth Gun Show. We went to it this weekend. Got there early because we figured there would be a rush, or I knew that there would be a rush. So we got there early, got parked. Parking is usually $8, but it was $10 this time, so they bumped it up twice, or $2. And then also to get in, it's normally $8, but it was $10, so basically 20 bucks, to park and get in. But when we got in line, we got there like, an hour early because they opened at 9. And I think, we were there like at 7:45 and the place was packed. The parking lot was filling up. There was a line out the door. I mean, everything. So it was pretty crazy. But got in line. They finally let us into the building, and then they took us into this holding area. I took pictures of it, put it up on Instagram, but it was kind of like, where you walk through this like little maze thing. They kind of had it taped off, and with these little, crime strip looking things, with the poles. And they lined you up in this room. And what I was assuming is all of the people that got in that room would be some of the first ones in the building, because with the COVID, they were probably limiting people that could come in at one time. It was mandatory face mask because it's Tarrant County, so you've got to wear a face mask in Tarrant County. So we had to wear a face mask the second we went in the building and waited. So we were standing there, people had stuff to sell. You could see them, carrying stuff and, all that. And prior to us getting to the gun show, I was telling him that I was like, here's probably what we're going to see. Most of the gun shows are dominantly guns. But because of this COVID and the lack of guns, I was thinking it's probably going to be like 60% guns and optics and stuff, guns. And then the rest would be optics, maybe like purses, those concealed carry purses, some holsters, beef jerky, soap, candles. They always sell weird stuff at gun shows. Knives, of course, coins, stuff like that. So anyway, when we got in, I was pretty much right. We started walking through. First 2 rows were just junk. I mean, just not junk. I'm not being disrespectful, but I'm just meaning it was like not guns. It was just other stuff. Started getting into the guns. What I saw that was dominantly out there was like a lot of polymer guns, a lot of Tauruses, some Smith & Wessons, just a lot of more budget-friendly guns. Did see some 1911s, some higher-end stuff also. As far as the ARs, they were there. Shotguns, rifles, bolt guns, lever guns, all that. And these were gun dealers. They really don't have brick and mortar buildings. And then there were also a lot of private sellers, where people were selling private collections. They had rented tables and they were selling their stuff too. So, but as we started going through and really seeing what people were like going after, it was a lot of the polymer guns. A lot of people were grabbing the Tauruses, a lot of ladies and men, and I could tell a lot of them were new gun owners because they were like, oh, look at this little 380. It's so cute. It's pink or it's lime green or, things like that. This is what I want. The ladies were saying that. And in my mind, I was like, that's a small 380. It's not going to be fun to shoot. But, some people were looking at them and buying them. They started, what they do is they ask what you want. You say, I want that gun. They get your driver's license and they send you down to a table to do your paperwork. So all of it is done with paperwork. They don't just, this gun show loophole thing that everybody freaks out about is not true. I mean, at gun shows, unless you're buying from a private collector, you still have to fill out all the paperwork. But anyway, and then even a lot of the private collectors, they'll check to make sure you're a Texas resident. Drivers, they'll check your driver's license, make sure you're of age, and they'll kind of feel you out. They're not just selling to a bunch of, crazy people that they think. So that's my opinion. But and there were a lot of people walking around with like trying to sell ARs, try to sell pistols, things like that. You know, but what I saw selling was a lot of less expensive pistols, some shotguns, a few rifles, AR pistols. But as far as long ARs, I didn't really see any being sold. And now that we were there for about 4 hours, so I'm not saying none were sold. It just wasn't as what everybody wanted. Now, what was crazy and the most popular wanted gun there was Glock. I heard people like, do you have a Glock? What do you have in Glock? And then people that were walking with their Glock boxes, you know, the vendors were like, hey, what kind of Glock is that? How much do you want for it? You know, they were trying to buy Glocks off of people. So definitely a demand for Glocks, because in gun stores, Glocks are gone, you know, so I know that it's supply and demand. So people were demanding Glocks. So it's also like if you ever go into a gun store and you're like, hey, it's going to be my first gun, what do you think I ought to get? A lot of people recommend Glocks. You know, you should buy a Glock 19 or, you know, 17 or whatever. So I did see, and I posted some pictures on Instagram of the line, you know, the little holding area, and then also some prices that I saw on some Glocks. But I saw a couple of vendors, and they probably had low inventory, but they were trying to get premium on these guns. So capitalism, you know, I understand it. I'm all for it, but some of it was pretty crazy. Like a brand new Glock 19X, which you could find normally, you know, prior COVID, or you could probably find it for, you know, $545, $595. I saw some listed for $895, and I posted the picture on Instagram. $895. They were asking for a stock, brand new Glock 19X. That's pretty damn high. Almost $1,000 for a stock Glock 19X. However, it's supply and demand, so I understand. Ammo, you know, is getting scarce to find. I saw boxes of just target ammo, 115 grain basic ammo, going for $29 a box. That box could be a $13 box that the guy paid for it. He's selling it for $29 a box, and people were buying it. So, you know, I guess you got to say something about stocking up prior to all of this and being prepared. But that's kind of what I saw at the gun show. If you have any questions, or if you've been to a gun show in your area, what are you seeing? The same, something different? You know, and a lot of people, like what I was telling my buddy, a lot of people are buying pistols because they're loading up on the pistols, or trying to keep pistols in the home because they're easier to store in a drawer, or maybe even to carry or put in a vehicle than a long AR-15. You can't really stick that in a drawer. So, you know, that's what I'm thinking. They're using more of that for personal protection or to have on their person. But anyway, just wanted to share this with you. Thought it might be interesting in case you haven't been to any gun shows lately. But I did notice on this one, I thought it was going to be canceled because of the rises in COVID. And they did update the website for this particular gun show, and it said this, and it was the THIS was all capitalized, and it said this gun show is still on. But the ones going forward may be canceled again. So who knows? But just wanted to share this. This is the first gun show out of the box since this COVID stuff. So y'all have a great day. Remember, an unarmed nation's a very weak nation, so we all got to carry on.